Hello and welcome to SuperSportsWomen TV. Nat Edwards and Mel Jones with you. Just a quick congratulations off the top to the Aussie Stingers who have beaten the US in the London Test event, which is a fantastic lead up to the Olympics, of course. But today we're going to focus on the WNBL off-season and we're going to take an in-depth look into the player movements that have been going on. Very active so far. Do you think that's anything to do with the fact that the AIS won't be in the WNBL next year?
Oh, massively so. They've looked at the system and the structure of the WNBL, but particularly in regards to the AIS program, and a lot of the thought is that the girls need to get overseas more and play more international competition. So at the moment for the rest of the season and onwards, AIS will not be in the WNBL competition, which means that now all these girls need a place to go to.
Well, let's start off with the premiers, of course, the Dandenong Rangers, and they've already recruited an AIS graduate.
They certainly have. They've picked up Blickarves, and she'll be a wonderful addition for them. Really strong younger player, and I think she was probably well sought after with a lot of the other clubs as well.
But the biggest re-signing at the moment is the news that Jenna O'Hea, the Opal star, has re-signed, which is fantastic news, along with Alison Downey, who will play in her 12th season, I think it is, for the Rangers. So great to have her back.
It certainly is. It's a wonderful effort, especially being at the one club for all that time. Another huge one for them is previous MVP player in Steph Cumming as well, who added just a lot of spark for them starting last year.
And Tegan Cunningham has also re-signed, but one player who has yet to put pen to paper is Kath McLeod. Now, she and Jenna have played a lot of basketball together since they were about 7 years old. Do you think Jenna should get in her ear?
Well, they are best mates, so I'm tipping they've probably had a lot of talks about this. Look, a massive re-signing still on the table there for Dandenong in the point guard. I mean, she was All-Star 5 last year and won the MVP in the final, so they'll be sweating over that one.
All right, on to the runners-up in the Bulleen Boomers. Now, Liz Cambridge and, of course, their skipper Sam Richards have yet to re-sign. Now, that's a big story there.
Well, it is. I mean, typically at this time of the year too, though, especially with stars the calibre of Sammy Richards and Liz, is that there's a lot of offers floating around the place, particularly from Europe, so they need to make sure they can cover off all those things first. So we'll just have to wait and see on those two, but massive sort of waiting game now for Bulleen.
It is indeed, but they have managed to recruit the experience of Emma Randall, who of course comes over from the Logan Thunder, which is fantastic. She's played 2 seasons there.
Yeah, she certainly has. Big signing for them, that they needed another big in there in the mix, and it also adds to the fact that Elise Penaluna has come back to the Bulleen Boomers as well. Now, Elise unfortunately suffered a knee reconstruction at the end of the Siebel season last year.
In the grand final.
In the grand final, last
Terrible.
5 minutes to go, and had already signed for Aix-en-Provence in France for last season, so missed all of last season due to the knee injury, but is coming back really well.
And of course, Tess Magden has come over from the Bendigo Spirit, so that's another good pickup for the Boomers.
It's a massive signing. She's played exceptionally well for Bendigo in recent years. She's already played a few Opals games, played in a lot of the qualifying series last year as well, and is a big scoring option for them.
Fantastic. On to the Canberra Capitals, and great news with the re-signing of their captain, Jess Bibby. This will be her 7th season at the Caps.
Well, she's been a stalwart for the club and has been involved, an integral part of so many of their titles. But also joining her in that guard position also is Nicole Hunt. So the veteran plus the young girl coming through, I think that really adds some good stability there.
Does
for the
indeed.
Capitals.
And Samantha Norwood, of course, comes over from West Coast, which is another good signing.
Yeah, another good signing. It's a forward for them as well, and that's going to help, particularly because they've lost Mariana Tolo. She's off to Aix-en-Provence in France for a European season.
That is right, but we can't forget the biggest coup in Australian basketball at the moment, and that is that Lauren Jackson will be playing the next 3 of 5 WNBL seasons with the Canberra Capitals, and that is just phenomenal. I mean, great to have her back on Aussie soil.
Well, it's awesome for the Canberra Capitals, but it's just great for women's basketball and basketball in general here in Australia. So we'll get to see one of the best going around this season. She'll miss the season after that, but then back for the next 2, which is fantastic.
All right, let's move on to the Logan Thunder, and it's been not the best off-season for them because they've suffered a double blow in losing their coach, Olaf Langer, and as well the experience of Emma Randall.
Well, it certainly is. So you've lost just a wealth of experience, not only in Olaf, but his wife and Sandy Brondello as well. So the two of them have got a contract to coach a Russian club. There's still speculation over who it is, but it is EuroLeague, and it's an absolutely wonderful opportunity for both of them,
It's there.
And also you add into that their other big in Kayla Francis and Opal, who has picked up a spot with Tolo at Aix-en-Provence over in France as well. So some big losses for Logan.
But they have signed a youngster in Michaela Donnelly, and that was Jason Chaney, the new coach's first signing. So great news there. The West Coast did not have a great season last year. Obviously, they only won the 2 matches, so they'll be looking to build. They've got a new coach in the helm, Kennedy Karima, who hopefully will bring a bit of pep back into the side. What are your thoughts on Kennedy?
Well, he brings a little bit of pep, but he brings some international experience as well. He's the New Zealand head coach, so he's about to go into a campaign with the New Zealand girls to go over to try and qualify for London. And he's been a long-term coach. He's only young, but he's been coaching for a very long time, so he has a lot of enthusiasm.
A couple of Bendigo girls have moved over, one being a New Zealand-born Lisa Warburton, and she'll join her teammate Deanna Smith.
Massive signing,
that
isn't
is
it?
huge.
You know, former Opal, she averaged just under 15 points every game last season, and again just a wealth of experience to add to all the ones, you know, like a Mel Marsh and possibly a Rahani Cox as well.
Townsville had a pretty good season last year. They finished 4th. They'll be looking to build again, but they have lost young gun Nadine Payne, which would be disappointing for them.
Yeah, it certainly was. There was a long contract negotiation period, which they just couldn't finalise in the end. So what's going to happen now is that she's actually going to move over down to Adelaide to see how she can go there.
Well, she'll be moving out of home, but someone who is also moving away from home is Olivia Thompson, and she joins the Fire, which is a good recruit for them.
Yeah, it certainly is. Another one of the young AIS guns now that the AIS aren't playing. So I think she'll be really looking forward to the Townsville structure and sort of making a name for herself outside the AIS.
All right, Bendigo, they'll be looking to build because they finished just 1 game out of the top 5. They just missed out on finals. Big rumours floating around in the off-season that one Liz Cambridge was going to be recruited, but quickly quashed on Twitter.
Don't you love the rumour mill? And don't you love Twitter? It always comes in handy, doesn't it?
Had a Twitterverse meltdown for a second there with that news. But of course, Liz hasn't yet signed, so who knows?
There you go. We'll soon find out, I think.
Well, a couple of outs, of course, for Bendigo, losing Deanna Smith, as we mentioned before, but another player, Tess Magden, as well.
Look, 2 massive losses for them in key positions. But you look at it, and Bernie Harrow, the coach, has re-signed, and he's a seasoned veteran. So if you're looking at both him and Christie in the mix, I'm sure they'll figure out a plan of attack to combat those losses.
They'll be able to pull themselves together. All right, on to Sydney, and not a lot of movement for them in the off-season.
No, not much at all. We do know that Katie Ray Ebsary has re-signed. A big pickup, though, for them also is that Sarah Graham, the guard from Logan, has come down as well. So not a lot of movement, but some significant ones for Sydney.
Alrighty, on to Adelaide, and I guess the big news is that Abby Bishop is expected to head over to the EuroLeague after the London Olympics, so she'll be leaving Adelaide, but the good news is they've already found a replacement in Opal's star Laura Hodges.
Yes, so for those that don't know their name, it's Laura Summerton, who obviously got married. She spent a lot of time playing in Italy recently. Has also had a contract with Connecticut Suns in the WNBA, so a lot of experience coming in there in the forward position and can really team up well with re-signed Susie Bakovic.
Yeah, of course, Susie winning the WNBL MVP during last season. Now, Jo Hill will be back after tearing her calf. She has decided to play on another year, which is good news.
Well, I think she's the Dustin Fletcher of the WNBL. She's a machine. She just keeps going and going, and a wonderful wealth of experience for the younger players.
That wraps up our look at the WNBL off-season player movements, but I'm sure there'll be lots more to come, MJ.
I think there'll be a few more before the start of the season.
Okay, don't forget to check out all the latest news on supersportswomen.com.au, and you can check us out on Facebook and Twitter. But MJ and I will be back again next week, so we'll see you again soon.
See you then.